Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Stephanie Lou, and welcome to another episode of Lights, Camera, Live. Guess what? It's been a while. It's been a while since I've actually gone live, so if you're here, go ahead and leave a comment and let me know what you are up to. It's Friday, you guys. It's Friday, and you know what? It's been a while since I've done an episode of Lights, Camera, Live, and the reason why is because so much has been going on in the world that it's kind of like, man, what do you talk about, right? Sometimes I feel like with everything that's been happening, you kind of want to take a hiatus and kind of get in tune with what's going on with your life. So that's where I've been. I've been a little bit off schedule, and I'm flexing those live streaming muscles again. So if you're here, if you're watching live, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. Hey, I see 3 of you, so feel free to go ahead and drop a comment. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I'm keeping an eye on that as well. And if you're watching the replay, then that's awesome. So good to see you. Hey, go ahead and leave a comment, like I said, where you're watching from. And let me tell you a little bit about what's going on. So it's Friday, and I usually don't go live on Fridays. I usually do the first and third Thursdays of every month. But like I said, so much has been going on in the world, right? And so I just needed to take a break from social media and really get back and true to like who I am and what it is that I'm actually really doing. And sometimes I feel like some people post on social media because they feel like they're required to post all the time. And I just didn't feel like I had anything that I wanted to share. I just kind of wanted to sit back and relax just a little bit. So, hey, Amanda, so good to see you. Amanda, I'm actually going to go ahead and see you right after this. So that'll be amazing. All right, you guys. So in this episode of Lights, Camera, Live, we are talking about mass influence and the psychology behind live video and why it really works. So Katarina, girl, thank you so much for joining. Love to see you. Christy, you're here too. Yeah, you get to actually see me geek out. That's kind of fun. All right. So for those of you that are live streamers or have ever tried to do a live video before, here's the thing. We all know that with live video, you never know what's really going to happen. Sometimes your headphones can pop off or your broadcast gets interrupted, and it looks like mine is doing that right now. So if you're watching live, bear with me. Usually what happens with Facebook is that they'll go ahead and they'll fix everything after you're done live streaming, and then it looks a lot cleaner. So having said that, yes, there's a lot of stuff that comes with live streaming, and there's a lot of hiccups that can happen, but the good news is that you should always roll with it. Now, when it comes to live video, what we do know is that if you're not live streaming, you're pretty much missing out on an amazing opportunity to create massive influence to build your audience as well as build your bottom line, right? See, when it comes to live video, there's a couple of things that you should be aware of. First off, there are some huge benefits. Like you can create your authority, you could generate social proof, and you could build a community by leveraging those psychological triggers when it comes to live video, right? Now, if you combine those psychological triggers with the advancements that we have right now with mobile technology, as well as the power of social media, you get this powerful combination to create this seismic shift in how people communicate online. Hey Tam, so nice to see you. Thanks for joining. So if you guys haven't noticed, is that when someone actually goes live, Facebook now considers live video as its separate content type. That means when you have a live video, it's going to appear higher in the newsfeed. So you're getting a lot of like organic goodness from live video. Right? And so why is it that Facebook is betting so heavily on live video? For some people, they're probably thinking, well, it's probably because, they have competitors like Snapchat and they have competitors like YouTube. But to be very honest with you, I think the live content arms race is really more about engagement. And let's face it, live video is an engagement winner. Facebook is already letting you know that viewers watch live video 3 times longer than regular video. On top of that, users are more likely to leave 10 times more comments on live video versus any other content type that they have on the platform. So it's a no-brainer that brands are integrating live video into their online marketing strategies. Make sense? So Tam, Amanda, Christy, thank you so much for joining. If you guys know anyone that would benefit from this, feel free to go ahead and share it. In fact, you know what? Go ahead and give me some likes, some comments, and some shares, because it's Friday and I'm feeling good. That actually just reminded me of a song. And once I do this, I get to go see my homegirl, Amanda. Oh my God, Daryl! Daryl, so good to see you. Okay, so like I said, a lot of brands are integrating live video into their strategy. I know that for a lot of my clients, we talk a lot nowadays on how they can incorporate live video into their marketing strategies. But before you jump into live video, let's talk about the psychology of live video and how it's able to create massive engagement and on top of that, massive influence. See, if there's anything that we've actually learned about reality TV, it's that people love to see what happens behind the curtain. People love to see what's going to happen unexpectedly. How many of you have actually watched that BBC interview where the dad is trying to do an interview, and then in comes the kids, they come in there, and then the wife is just like, she's freaking out, and she's trying to get the kids out of the interview. Story of my life. I feel like that always happens to me whenever a client tries to call me and Emma's at home, right? So if there's anything that we've learned about live video is that it gives off this voyeuristic feel. And when you have something like Facebook Live, it ups the ante completely. So nowadays, you can go ahead and you could see, let me go ahead and change this real quick. You could see your favorite master chef sharing her favorite recipes, talking about her trips, about where she is in the world, all of that wonderful stuff. On top of that, you could go ahead and see unscripted comments to see how people are engaging. It's like a live performance, so it's really cool. And on top of that, what's really cool is that you could see someone like The Rock, ladies, you could see someone like The Rock actually show out his workout on Facebook Live, which I don't know about you, but I'm kind of down for that. See, the thing about live video is that it really fuels our human intuitiveness. It really taps into it. And the thing about it is that when I see stats about how powerful live video is, how live video is helping entrepreneurs, brands, people that are unknown go to unforgettable, I'm not really quite surprised with that because live video really taps into our mental psyche. It taps into these mental triggers that have been hardwired into our bodies thousands and thousands of years ago. And if you're not familiar with the book Influence by Robert Cialdini, I highly recommend that you go in and read that because he talks about the six triggers or principles that influence our everyday actions and how we make decisions. Okay, and so I'm going to take a pause real quick because I see the comments flying and I just want to make sure that I'm paying attention to you guys. Okay, so Robert Cialdini, this is actually probably a really good time to let you know that I'm a big, huge nerd. I'm a big, huge nerd, especially when it comes to psychology. I'm all about understanding why people act and think the way that they do, okay? And so Robert Cialdini has this amazing book called Influence where he talks about the 6 principles on what influences our actions and our everyday behavior. And so what I'm here to talk about with you today is how live video taps into our mental psyche, how it becomes this amazing canvas for us to exert our influence on people. And so let me give you an example. So one of the psychological triggers that Robert Cialdini talks about is how as human beings, we are always looking for authority. And so I remember whenever I would go like to the doctor's office, a doctor comes in and he's wearing a white lab coat and you're just like, I need to pay attention to exactly what he says because he's an authority and he knows exactly what he's talking about. And it's so amazing how easily authority can be created. See, I remember when my friends and we went to this music festival in Vegas, and it's Electronic Daisy Carnival. Anyone? Hey, Jen, so good to see you. And so what happened was we were at the front of the stage. We were listening to Swedish House Mafia, and we were just like freaking the fuck out. It was the best concert out there. But one of our friends really was just feeling like, dude, I need some space. I'm getting completely crushed. And so we're trying to maneuver in this sea of people. Like, how do we get out of this crowd? Everyone was feeling the vibes. They were bopping up and down, jumping, all of that great stuff. And we really needed to get her out. And you couldn't find a security guard. If you've ever been to a music festival, they're like not in the crowd. And one of my friends, they did something really interesting. She had a headlamp. Don't ask me why. Music festival, P.S. And so she decided that she was going to go ahead and take the headlamp off. And she started swinging. Here, let me actually put this together. So she started kind of like directing the traffic of saying, okay, here's a flashlight. This is the route that we're going to go. So she was kind of showing the path. And what had happened, people were starting to realize, oh, okay, this is a person of authority, because who usually has a flashlight at a nightclub or at an event? It's usually the security. And so I saw that she was able to create this authority. People automatically assumed that she was a part of the staff or that she was guiding and helping people. And so we were able to get out of the scene quickly. So how can you leverage this psychological trigger of authority while doing live video? Well, here's a really cool story. Kind of. Well, it is a cool story, but it also talks about one of the natural disasters that currently happened. So for those of you who are in California or have heard about the fires that were happening in California, a lot of homes were destroyed. A lot of people had to be evacuated. A lot of sadness was going on. And one of my friends, Carrie, he's also known as the live stream expert. I met him at Social Media Day San Diego a couple months ago. Anyway, he's a live streaming expert, and he decided that he was going to leverage his platform to share updates about evacuations in Santa Rosa, what families needed to know, what was the latest update on the fire. And so what he did, and I'm going to go ahead and show this to you real quick. What he did is that he went to vistaprint.com, and he printed out this vinyl that said information update. He printed out that vinyl called Information Update in the background. You can actually see it. Wait, boop, 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 right there. And then he started live streaming to detail these reports. And what had happened was that people that were interested in the fire, that wanted to know what was going on, saw this graphic of like information update. This is important. They saw him as an authority, and they listened to what he had to say. And in a matter of hours of him going live, his message about the updates were being shared across social media. So that's something that's really interesting that you could do with live video. So if you notice here, when I'm live streaming, it's very different from what most people do. Most people are live streaming from their phones. And here I am, I can actually go ahead and create a bottom thirds graphic that shows that, hey, I know social media, my Facebook, my Instagram, and my website there as well. Hey, Desmond, so nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. So we're talking about massive influence and how you could leverage these psychological triggers by using live video. So the first one that we're talking about is creating authority. Creating authority by using graphics, whether it's an actual graphic that you're going to create on Canva or on Photoshop, or like I said, my friend Carrie, where he went ahead and he printed out this vinyl graphic where it just shows information update and it captures your attention almost immediately in the news feed. Cool? Are you guys getting this? All right. Now, the other thing that you could do when it comes to live streaming is take advantage of the social proof. Now, we've already talked about that with live video, you're seeing, I was going to say a bad word. I always have to stop myself because I'm like, oh my God, maybe you might have family in there. And I do have like one of my viewers, Angela, sometimes she's watching in the car and her daughter, she's watching in the car and her daughter's there. I'm like, oh God. So with Facebook Live, you get a shit ton of engagement. Let's let's be real. When you're posting other things like photos or inspirational quotes, you might not get the same engagement. And so you could leverage the social proof with live video. And I'm going to go ahead and give you an example of how we were able to do this with one of my girls, one of my favorite people in the world, because she's so freaking smart, Molly Mahoney. So she is like the freaking Facebook Messenger wizard of all things, right? And I had her on the show, and we did something really cool where we were talking about how you could use chatbots to build your business and your bottom line, right? And so we were getting a lot of traction with the show, and we wanted to show people on how you could actually use a chatbot, okay? And so we had people leave the comments. I think for this one, it was, oh my goodness, which one was it? Let me see. It was either show me or case study. It was case study. So we had people leave the comment case study, and when they left the comment case study, what would happen is that the chat bot would pop up. They would go ahead and enter their email address, and then they would go ahead and get the PDF download of Molly's case study. So how does this actually play into social proof? The thing about social proof is that if you see one person doing it, you're more likely to go ahead and do it yourself, right? It's kind of like when my husband and I were actually going to be heading off to New Orleans next week. New Orleans and next week. If anyone's going to be in New Orleans, holler at me. Let me know. Right? So here's the thing about what we know about social proof is that if you see one person doing it, you're most likely going to be doing it yourself. And so I know that if we're going to go to New Orleans, if I have to choose between two restaurants or two dessert places, I'm most likely going to choose the one that has the longest line. Even though I know that it's going to make me wait the longest, there has to be a reason why people are standing in line that long. Does that make sense? So that's social proof. And so how are you able to leverage social proof to create massive influence using live video? So a lot of what I do is I do speaking engagements, and in order to get my brand front and center with certain organizations, like let's say the San Diego Human Resources Management or American Marketing Association, what I do is I find the top performing live video that I have. So whether it's the one with Molly Mahoney, whether it's the one with Vicky Howell from DIY, what I do is I take a look at my content to see which one has the top engagement. Then I go into LinkedIn because I have all these amazing connections with event organizers, people that I've connected with over the years during my agency. And what I do is I export those contacts. I go ahead and I create a Facebook custom audience, and then I promote the heck out of that live video to that specific audience. And so what happens is that they start to realize, oh my goodness, this live video is doing so well. She must really know about this certain topic. Maybe I should invite her to speak at my next event. So again, that's how you leverage social proof. Are you guys getting this? Desmond, Jen, Daryl, so good to see you guys. Let me go ahead and refresh this screen real quick because I just want to go ahead and make sure that I'm answering all of your questions. So let's see over here. Let me move this over. It's always fun. Oh, and for those of you that are wondering, I feel like I always get this question is, what platform are you using? I'm using OBS Studio. However, I will say, and Jen, I'm going to say this to you because I know that you've also played around with Ecamm Live. Ecamm Live supposedly has a new beta where you could actually do Skype interviews. So I think you're going to have to check that out. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about how you could use authority as a psychological trigger to establish massive influence with people when it comes to live video. We've also talked about how you could leverage social proof, how you could use chatbots to get people to engage with your specific posts. And it actually just reminded me, like, I didn't set up my chatbot for this, so that's okay. But again, you could still leverage Facebook ads once you get the ball rolling in terms of engagement for your product or your service for a specific post. Go ahead and use Facebook ads to get your brand in front of the right people. Now let's also talk about how you can go ahead and leverage live video to build a community. And this is probably like one of my favorite case studies because this is my homegirl, Jenna Sword. She is the founder of youcanbrand.com. She's also created many, many wonderful courses online that you're probably familiar with. The course launcher, which she just launched a couple days ago. We did the webinar on how you could use Facebook Live to launch your course. And before I go on, oh my goodness, Nicole Mortensen Goodyear, it is so amazing to see you. For those of you who don't know, Nicole Goodyear, she was the first CEO that I've ever worked with that was a female. We worked together at Brickfish, and it was just amazing to see a female CEO being a powerhouse. So that was completely amazing. So Norma says, the message for this live video with the chat box. Oh, so Norma was saying like, oh, I actually got the chat box for the social proof stuff. Okay, cool. All right, so let's go back to how you could leverage live video to create a community. So one of my girlfriends, let me go ahead and pull her up real quick, is Jenna Sword. And if I pull up this image, you actually might have seen some of her amazing ads. So what she does with live video is she creates these webinars she created webinars with her students on how you could be successful in launching your own online course. And she had each one of us jump on her Zoom webinar, and then she Facebook Lived it onto her business page. And then she got people to join her Facebook group. And now this Facebook group became a community. It became a community where people got to go ahead and test drive her course a little bit, ask questions, and it really helped her establish her message to get other people talking about her launch, her platform, her services, and just all around her badassness, because she's absolutely amazing. So that pretty much boils down to three of the psychological triggers that you could go ahead and leverage when it comes to creating massive influence. And again, I would have to probably say that my favorite is Jenna, because she's really crushing it when it comes to live video on how she's building her community. And there's so much that you could absolutely do. You could create your authority. Carrie, like I said, all that he really did, he went ahead and he went to Vistaprint and he created this vinyl graphic, said information update, and that helped him get the organic reach that he needed to get to spread the message about the fires in Santa Rosa. So that was absolutely amazing. So having said that, you guys, this has been an amazing 30 minutes of me just flexing my live streaming muscles again. Like I said, I haven't gone live this month just because of everything that's happened in the world, and I just needed a break. I just needed a break from it. And so what I'm sharing with you today is all of the information that I was going to share at this conference that I was supposed to speak at today, but unfortunately, due to certain things that happened, the conference had to be pushed back. So thanks for letting me share my nerdiness with you. I'm such a huge nerd when it comes to psychology and understanding how you could leverage psychology with live video. And so Denise, Samantha, thank you so much for joining. It's amazing to see you guys. If you guys have any questions about live video, Norma, I know that you are live streaming as well, and I haven't, the last time I saw you was in Vegas too. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop them now, because if not, then I'm going to go ahead and jump off, and I'm going to go ahead and catch up with my girl, Amanda, at the Rose here in San Diego. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for joining. The next episode will most likely be next week on Thursday. Like I said, my husband and I are going to be in New Orleans, and I'm looking around right now. I'm looking around right now because I wanted to show you the 360 camera that I'll most likely be using when I'm walking through the crowd. If you guys don't know this, you could do live video in 360. I should actually probably show you that. One second. You guys, if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and type them in right now while I search for this video. We had a ton of fun. Let me see if I could quickly find it. There's been a couple of things that I've been posting for a while now. One second. I wish there was a better way to find live video on your timeline, or I should probably just stop posting so much on my personal timeline. Okay, one second. Actually, let me just kind of show you my screen. That way you guys could actually see what I'm doing. What? It's going to pop up. Yep, here it is. Okay, so since we were talking about live video, yes, we talked about how you could use Ecamm Live, Jen, how you could do the Skype stuff with that, how you could create massive influence by creating your authority, creating social proof, and building a community. Now, here is something else that's evolving when it comes to live video. So this right here, this is actually a 360 video. So what's happening is that as a viewer, you could go ahead and see all of my surroundings. So this was my family and I when we were at the San Diego Zoo. So you can see my husband over there. Oh my God, this is adorable. You can see my husband over there. He's trying to hand my daughter to me and his face is like, can you please stop live streaming so I could give you our daughter? And I'm just laughing. So that's the evolution of live video. If you guys aren't doing live video right now, go ahead and jump in now. Don't be afraid to go ahead and do it to build your band, because that's amazing. And then when you start flexing your muscles, then you could go ahead and start playing around with virtual reality, or you could start even doing some 360 stuff. Okay, so Norma, thank you, Norma, so much for posting your question. Norma's question is, so what is the first thing to start with if you're going to be doing live video to create massive influence? And I love that you asked this because I almost forgot about this. So generally, what I do in terms of live video to establish authority, create social proof, and build a community, here's generally what I do. So when I'm live streaming, I'm going to go ahead and choose a platform that is going to allow me the ability to brand my show the way that I want it to be. So if you notice here, Norma, is that I have my bottom thirds graphic that shows my website, my logos, all of that good stuff. I also even have the ability to do something cool like this. So choose a platform that is going to help you out in terms of branding your show. Or like I said before, you could do something really cool like my friend Carrie, where you could probably just print something out that says like the name of your show. So you could establish authority that way. One thing that I was actually thinking about for this was maybe I could create a bottom thirds graphic that kind of looks like the news, right? Maybe that would catch people, but then I didn't want to confuse people, if that makes any sense. I didn't want it to come off as a fake. So having said that, go ahead and figure out which platform is going to work for you best, and then start creating social proof. Now, whenever I do my Facebook Live, I always want to make sure that I'm getting the right audience there. So I know that if people are going to watch this Facebook Live, it's going to generally happen because I first create a Facebook event. I want people buzzing about it. I want people talking about it. Once somebody sees somebody else commenting or RSVPing for the event, that's going to start creating social proof. Another thing, Norman, that you can do is that when you're live streaming, start to get the comments rolling. So if you notice, the very first comment for this particular post, I actually had it said, let me know where you're watching from. And that gives people the permission that they could go ahead and they could leave a comment. Sometimes people just want to know, like, how does this live video thing work? Like, are you going to answer my questions right now? Are you going to give me some time? And so if you give them an easy question, like, where are you watching from? It gets the comments rolling in terms of engagement. The other things that you could be doing, Norma, in terms of creating your social proof is leveraging Facebook advertising. So making sure that you have the right message at the right time in front of the right audience. So like my story was that I could go on LinkedIn, I could export my agency contacts or my contacts for event organizers, and I could feature my top performing content to them because they're going to realize, oh, hey, this girl is able to get a ton of views, a ton of comments, and tons of engagement. Possibly I might have her speak at my upcoming conference, or I could actually have her come in and create a workshop for my employees, right? So that's it. Stephanie Trin! Oh my God, Stephanie Trin, I haven't seen you forever. Denise is saying, hey, I jumped in late. Are you using Ecamm Live? Denise, I'm not using Ecamm Live yet. However, I just joined the Ecamm Live beta group, which is amazing. And I started previewing it before the show, and apparently there's a new beta release where you could actually do a split screen where you could go ahead and have an interview with someone on Skype. So I think that's really cool. I haven't played around with it yet. I have not played around with it yet, but just know that I will be playing around with it because it will be an update to the Lights Camera Live course. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I have about a good 2 minutes, unless you have another question, so let me know. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Let me go ahead and prop this up real quick. Stephanie Trin says, hi, I know I miss you. Yeah, you know what? It's been a while, girl. It's been a while. All right, you guys, Thank you so much. I gotta go run now. So, take care. Bye. Bye, Stephanie. Bye, Denise. Norma. You guys. I'll catch you later.